There are plenty of places, like we were saying earlier, that you don't have to tip, and it's even frowned upon. There are a lot that people know about, and it's generally an awareness about amongst tourists who are going there and traveling.
The Asias.
The Asians.
Hey, guys. Hey, you know that thing, whether you like it or you don't like it, called tipping? I get myself in trouble with it because I'm one of those guys that I don't tip 15 or 20%. What about you, Adam?
Oh, I tip 20%, especially if I've got my standards with it, right? I feel like I either tip by drink if I'm at a coffee shop, juice shop, or a bar, and then I'll tip by total bill pre-tax if I'm at a restaurant or doing delivery.
Gotcha. Pre-tax, though. That was interesting you said that.
Pre-tax, yep.
I tip on the whole thing, and I usually tip 40 to 50%. And I get in trouble doing that with the boss. So
she's probably the only one you're getting in trouble with.
Yeah, but you know what? What I find out, because I go to the same places all the time, right? So you know the servers and the bartenders, and there's been times where I haven't left a tip, and somebody comes chasing after me, and I'm like, guess what? Service sucked. Sorry, I'm not tipping you if you give me bad service. But on the other hand, I was at a restaurant a few years ago with a bunch of friends. There was like 12 of us. I forget what the bill is, but I paid the bill, and I left a 50% tip. And it must have got put under one of the napkins or something.
Ooh.
The waiter, or the manager, not the waiter, the manager came running out and started MFing us like you wouldn't believe. And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude?
And sometimes you just catch those people on a bad day too.
That's true. But it wasn't the waiter. The
right.
waiter. It was the manager.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, come on. That didn't end up well for him. But I digress from that one. But tipping's important. These people, that's what they live on. And I don't know about you, Adam, but I've been a waiter, I've been a bartender, and I like the service industry.
All of the above. It's super fun to be able to host a party for anybody who's coming in and keep a lively energy that people want to be around. And for your local haunts, you gotta grease the wheels.
You have to.
Absolutely. It keeps their lights on, and it keeps a better vibe for them throughout the workday too. They know they're getting a good reward for hard work.
Right. And when you I walk into these places, I know that big long line doesn't affect me.
There you go.
So you need to tip them well.
Backs need to be scratched around town, folks.
But there are certain countries and places in the world that they don't like that.
No, and it's a tricky one too. If you're going there for the first time, or you're even kind of traveling in a little more luxury to a place you've been before, even just within one industry like hotels, there's a little bit of variation as far as like, how are we tipping the staff? Do we need to tip the staff?
Well, you and I were talking. I always leave an extra tip for the turn down on the maid service.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And if you're in hotels that are nicer, like those that Ham gets to stay in, or if you're in hotels where there may or may not be tweakers in the parking lot, more like those that I get to enjoy.
How is that, Adam?
There's always conversation between 8 a.m. and 3 a.m. Oh. So there's never a lack of interaction, but it makes for quick trips to and from the car.
That's true.
For sure.
But I mean, think about it. Those people in those kind of places, those hotels, they probably need the tip more than anybody.
So much more. Yeah.
And they're not getting it.
Nah.
You guys, next time you stay at a Motel 6 or a Sheraton or one of those type, leave a little note. Leave $5, $10. It doesn't have to be huge, but leave that something for the maid service.
Spruce it up for him. Maybe even leave a bottle of red in the fridge.
MD 2020.
How about, here's one I always think about too. How about taxis, Lyft, and Uber? Because that's one where I feel like I'm never taking a huge ride because I don't try to fly out of LAX. John Wayne Airport is incredible. But for little stuff around town, if I'm taking a $20, maybe a $30 ride somewhere, I'm kind of in like the $5 to $4 range.
But wasn't that whole thing with Uber and Lyft that you don't have to tip? Wasn't that the whole deal when it started? That was what made it so appealing to a lot of people.
No,
They didn't come up with the tip app until like
the
it
tip was
going
later.
for a couple of years.
Yeah, because the drivers were having trouble. Oh, dude, I forget.
Yeah, but the thing is, you got to tip them now. But you're right. I mean, listen, if I don't want to walk those 15 blocks,
No.
you might get a $5 tip. But
And you know what? On the ride home, I definitely shouldn't be driving those 15 blocks, so
Right.
you will definitely get a $5 tip.
Yeah, well, because you don't want the D, the U, or the I.
No, sir.
Because that starts at a $10,000 tip to the U.S. government. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes. And those are tips I do not like to sign for.
No. And it comes with a pair of matching bracelets.
Yeah. As we're kind of returning to travel and everything over there, I think keeping tipping in mind and what the standards are internationally is super important. And if you look online, there are a bunch of great guides out there that'll give you tips on how to tip. I found one from The Lonely Planet, awesome travel service. They've got localized guidebooks and then also just a great website for you. And another one that broke it down by country and industry super well. And they actually had like percentages, everything like that. It was a younger website, not as old as Lonely Planet, called Exploration Junkie. But they were taking a good like post-pandemic focus on how you do that. Because let's be real, the tourism industry was rocked.
You know, the one thing I notice, and I get it, young people don't have the money yet, but the young people, and I was guilty of it when I was younger, don't tip as well. You know what I mean?
I do. And having worked service industry jobs for most of my early 20s, tipping has always been a priority to me.
Right.
Even with takeout is the one that I always feel like I don't need to, but I still should leave something. You know? Now, where I do also get a little hiccup is the iPad today. Boy, flipping that iPad around to you and expecting something, I think it's almost become a little too customary. And young people I speak to about it, they're so used to that interaction that they hate tipping.
So that's where we're losing a lot of tips, is when you're using those kind of systems.
Yeah. So, and the U.S. is almost a little behind the times with a lot of other places. It's really nicer restaurants you'll go to where they'll give you that small asterisk note that says, hey, service charge included, so that we can provide a living wage to our staff, right? Now, you still have the option to tip for exceptional service, which, like a local upstanding gentleman like Hammer, still takes the time to do.
Hey, listen, you know what I do hate is when my wife just got a massage the other day, and I went and did the whole thing, and they put the gratuity on there, and it was a 25% gratuity that they put on automatic. And I asked the guy, well, what's the deal with that? He goes, well, 20% goes to the massage therapist, and 5% goes to the hotel. I'm going, what? That pisses me off. If I want to tip, I'm going to tip. And don't be tacking that shit on my bill. I'll decide who's going to get the tip and how much it's going to be.
When management gets their little paws into the tip jar, that's my red flag. I feel like we could use more transparency around that, the same way we're treating nonprofits declaring their things. I want to know tip division policy. Because working in restaurants too, the back of the house can get hosed on that. Oh my gosh. And you think those guys working over a grill aren't doing everything they can to make sure that your mahi-mahi comes out on time and perfect? Dude.
You know, I know this isn't a real popular thing to say, but I got a bunch of buddies that own restaurants, and a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And one of my buddies, they split the tip between the dishwasher, the guys in the kitchen, everybody. Okay, so they share the tips. Everybody does. And then you got the restaurants that the one person's making all the money, and then he might tip some people out, might tip the bartender out, but it's their choice. Mm-hmm. I don't like that. I like it when everybody's getting a piece of the pie.
I worked in a restaurant like that and was bussing tables for about a year, doing bar back stuff. And I noticed right around the end of the month, the tip outs you would get from the more senior servers started to get a little light. And I think we all knew why that was. Now, there are plenty of places, like we were saying earlier, that you don't have to tip, and it's even frowned upon. There are a lot that people know about, and it's generally an awareness about amongst tourists who are going there and traveling.
The Asians.
The Asians. The Asians. But specifically Japan and a lot of...
No, but most of the Asian world, I mean, they...
The most interesting one to me was like Fijian Islands and Papua New Guinea. Those areas, because it's almost... If you tip
It's
folks,
against the culture.
yeah, they almost become beholden to you and have to do more to earn it back. And then our twisted American brain is like, oh, you did more for me, let me tip you again. It's an endless cycle, folks.
Exactly.
Leave them out
Doesn't
of it.
work.
Enjoy your time there.
Hey, at the end of the day, guys, treat your servers and the hospitality industry well and tip them well, all right? And you'll get great service. Let us know what you think. We'll catch you next time.